Hi, I'm Evan Roberts, and this is my story, Gun Controlled. I'm originally from Orange Mound, Memphis, Tennessee. Um, it's designated as being the first African American neighborhood in the United States, built in the 1890s by African Americans. And it was originally a really nice place. By the time I arrived in the late 80s, it was not so nice, largely due to gang violence and drugs. But my street was pretty nice. I grew up on Dallas Street, and it was a lot of older people and young families. I was one of five, and I always had my two older brother and sister and my younger brother and sister to play with. We would play all kinds of things. We played cops and robbers, or cowboys and Indians, and Power Rangers and monsters. And my weapon of choice at the time was a slingshot, originally meant for water balloons, but I would put rocks in it, and I got really good at hitting stop signs and small rodents. My dad was in the Boy Scouts when he was younger, and so he showed us how to make bow and arrows out of wood, and how to cut a T in the top of the bow, and put the string through it so that when you pulled it, it was really tight and the arrow would go far. He also had a BB gun, a rifle that he would let us practice, like playing toy soldier with and cocking and uncocking. I had a machete that I found behind my aunt's house when I was like 7 or 8. And I asked my parents if I could keep it, and they said yes. So that was a great toy. When I was 10, we moved to Cleveland, and I was not happy about that at all. I didn't really like Cleveland. It was far away from my family and friends. We moved it was a 3-bedroom house, duplex on Superior Road. And my room was on the second floor, and there was a window in my bedroom that would go out onto the roof that was over the front porch. And I would go out there and watch the cars go by and just sit and pretty much stew about how much I didn't like living in Cleveland. I was also a really big fan of Legos at the time, and my collection was pretty huge. It grew around that time, partly as my parents' way of easing their guilt and my angst about the move. I was a member of the Lego Club. I got the magazine. It was called Lego Magazine. And I remember I was in, I think, 5th grade, and I was walking home from school by myself, and I was thinking about my Legos, and I got the idea in my head that I really wanted to make a gun out of my Legos. And I remember the goal being to make it as real as possible. It had to look absolutely real. And so I'm really excited. And I got home and poured out all my Legos all over the floor, and first separated them into like the black pieces and all the like multicolored pieces, and then took the black pieces and started with the hilt, and because I wanted it to be the right height. I used big block Legos first to get it the right height, and then I would take it apart in sections and replace it with smaller Legos so they could be compact. And some of them had like rounded edges, so it would feel really nice as a grip. And then I moved to the action and the top of the gun. After that, I went through maybe like 4 or 5 iterations of a trigger, finally deciding to settle on this hinge piece that was originally part of a spaceship wing. I remember I put an orange piece on the front, because you can always tell toy guns by like that little orange cap that's on there. And it took me about 4 or 5 hours to finish. But when I did, I went and showed it to my older brother, and I was like, yo, look what I got. And he was like, oh my God, look at that. It looks so real. Where did you get that? And I was like, I made it. And I took it apart and put it back together so you could see that it was Legos. And he was like, wow. I was like, but yo, you think I should keep the orange piece on the front? And he looked at the gun, and we looked at each other, and we were both like, nah. I kept my Lego gun for about 2 weeks. I would play with it all the time. I would sleep with it under my pillow. And sometimes I would take it out on the roof with me and lie down flat. And as the cars would go by, I would pretend to shoot out their tires. Like, So one day I'm playing outside with my younger brother, and right as I'm about to draw on him, my mom comes home from work, and she doesn't pull in the driveway and park in the garage like she normally would. She kind of like haphazardly pulls in and stops and jumps out the car and yells, "Boy, get in the house!" And I knew she was talking to me. But, I'm from the South, so whatever mom says do, you do. So we go in, and she's like, "Where did you get that gun?" And I was like, I built it, Mom, with Legos. It's mine. It's a toy. See? And I took it apart, showed her, and put it back together. And she kind of does this like sigh of relief and says, "I want you to take that apart, and I want you to never build it again. I don't ever want to see it again." And I say, "Yes, ma'am." And I used to think her reaction was really strong, but I get it now. I just thought she didn't like guns.